Hi guys, how's it going? All right, everyone's coming in. This is great. All right, well, I wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me today. So let's get started. Today's little workshop is going to be basically your closet detox 101. Something that is going to be extremely useful during this time, and while you have the opportunity to do it, you might as well. As you guys know, clothes can be very stressful. And one thing that really, unfortunately, makes that worse is if you have a cluttered closet. So managing your closet can help ease that stress, especially getting dressed in the morning. Your wardrobe really should function as a vehicle to make you feel beautiful, empowered, and it's something that when we come out of this quarantine, we want to really like impart that resilience and that strength when we walk out the door. So this is how I'm going to help you do it. One of the things that I need to stress as you start this process is you really have to be brutally honest. It's something that is key to the process, and you won't get anywhere without it. So, some of the questions that you're going to want to ask yourself is, when is the last time I wore these items? Do they make me feel beautiful, or do they make me feel sad? Is it something that best fits my body right now, or is it an improper fit? Is it something that represents me and who I am, or who I want to be? And is it something that I'm emotionally attached to and just holding on to for no reason? Or is it something that I can part with? Does it give me stress and anxiety when I look at it in the morning and impedes my, morning routine? All things that you're going to want to think about. But do try and take a look at it as a time of reinvention, because it really is an opportunity to not only make room in your closet, but to get rid of, old stuff, old vibes, ex-boyfriends, clothes, yada, 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 and make room for your new personal style. So the decluttering process is going to be key in this, and that is going to be our first step. So, obviously as a eco activist in the fashion domain, I think the fast fashion element has made a lot of us just shop, 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 and we have too much stuff in our closet. So to be a conscious consumer, this is the number one step to start that, and then you can implement it in your shopping strategy later. The main goal is you want to take stock of each item. You want to see if it is something that works for your lifestyle. Is it something that you identify as an essential to your lifestyle? And if it is not, get rid of it. And if it is, whatever it is, whether it be a blazer, t-shirt, a boot, make sure that it becomes the cornerstone of your wardrobe, and then we'll fill the holes from here on there. The one thing that you're going to want to remember is your closet is essentially real estate, and every item needs to pay rent. So that rent is going to be that it has to be worn a minimum of 4 times a year. And I really do mean a minimum of 4 times a year. That doesn't include, bathing suits, caftans, that type of stuff. That's fine. That's all vacation stuff. But as a general rule for your ready to wear items, 4 times a year. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into a couple steps. It's going to be 4 or 5 steps. And the first one is going to be your pre-tox. So this is when you go into attack mode, right? You want to make sure that you block off a few hours during a few days. Usually a weekend is going to be best because you're obviously not stressed from work or what have you. Also, I find it nice because you have friends and family, hopefully in your house, that can help you. Now you're going to want to help on day 2, because day 1 is just getting rid of stuff. Day 2, you can start trying stuff on, do a little fashion show, grab a glass of wine. It's always just a fun little buffer to have someone help you. That being said, block up a few hours. You're going to want to do it in chunks. You're going to want to make sure you take breaks because it is very overwhelming. And every time you do it, you're going to want to take each item and do that. So let's say you do pants one day, tops, in the next chunk of hours, you do accessories at this point, yada, 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 but don't do it all in one chunk because it really is, it's a lot. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn on some music, give yourself ample time. Music really helps just to get you through it, just so you know, pick some upbeat music, something that keeps you going. Then you're going to break it up and you're going to pick your section and you're going to pick an area. Usually most people like the bed where you can empty it all out. And I really can't stress that enough. You got to take it all out so you can see what you have. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a client and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know I had that. I haven't seen that thing in 4 years because it was just stuck all the way in the back. So make sure that you get it all out. Do a nice little cleanage too while you're in there. It helps the Virgo in you or what have you to just make sure it's nice and clean to put everything back in. Get all those mothballs and all that. Then your next step is going to be to make 5 piles. And I say this because every pile has a distinct zone where it's going to go. The first one is, I love it. I can't get rid of it. It's one of my essentials. I love it. Boom. That one's the easiest pile of them all. Then you're going to go to the second pile. That's your maybe pile. The maybe pile is for items where I want to keep it, but I don't really know if I do, and I don't know why, or I can't seem to get rid of it yet. I don't know why. Someone gave it to me. I'm not sure. Maybe it doesn't fit right now, which then brings me to the third pile. The third pile is going to be your storage. Now that one, as opposed to the other piles, which I would suggest using big trash bags, this one should be a bin. In my case, I like to do 2 bins. I like to do 1 bin for the goal area, which is usually, let's say, the pants you can't fit into right now, which might never see the time of day in some cases, or this bin number B, which is the, larger size items. I keep my pregnancy stuff in there. I keep my I ate too many cheeseburgers items in there. And I will be going to those very soon in quarantine after baking 600 banana breads by this point. But you want to have those available to you to stuff in the attic and make sure that you can get back to them whenever you need to. Also, that'll be an area where you do your trial separation. So for the maybes where you're like, I just don't know, I don't know if I can do it quite yet, it has sentimental meaning, whatever, stuff it in one of these boxes for 3 months. Do a 3-month trial separation during 1 full season. If you bring it back down and you still are not sure, chuck it. You definitely don't need it. Then the 4th section is going to be your donate/sell section. This one's pretty easy because if it is something nice that you think you can recoup some of your money on, you're going to want to put it in the sell section. That's easy. You give it to, whether it's the Real or a consignment shop or a secondhand store near you. Generally, it feels really good because you can get some money back to spend on the holes that you figure out as you're doing this. Obviously the other bag then is the stuff that might be a little bit, more worn, stuff that you want to donate, do something good for somebody else, Goodwill, Salvation Army, all that kind of stuff. The last area is going to be the trash. And that's the stuff that's pretty much irrecoverable, which shouldn't be in your closet anyways, but we always have a few of those. I know it sounds crazy, but as an eco activist, again, whether if it's the trash or what have you, I would even say reuse it as rags. Try and repurpose certain elements of it, whether it's something that's got a beautiful applique or some beading, cut it off. You can give it to your kid to do for a DIY project or repurpose it on something that you want to give it a little bit more life in your wardrobe, but you don't know what to do with it. So those are your 5 piles. Then you're going to move on to the actual work. You're going to want to look at the stuff you want to keep. That actually tends to be the easy part. Obviously, that's the stuff, you look at someone like Marie Kondo. Does it spark joy? It's that simple. If it's something that you just love and it makes you happy when you look at it, keep it. You're going to want to start with the areas of your wardrobe that essentially are that you're the least happy with. And when you edit those and you do little tweaks piece by piece, it helps you make the minor tweaks and then get the ball rolling for the big ones. Then you'll move into the basics, because the basics, you could always find an excuse that goes with everything. So I'm going to keep it. So start with the other pieces. The key in pieces that you want to keep, or are they versatile? Do they have maximum impact? Do they work on a daily basis with my life? That should be pretty easy. Also, something to think about is the seasons, obviously, where you don't need to give it away, but you might want to store it for a little while. So You know, is it something that can be worn with tights or leggings, or can I layer it with a sweater? Think about, you know, the fabric. Is it a heavier fabric? Is it going to retain heat? Is it a darker color? So let's say it's, you know, maroons, olives, black, red, all that kind of stuff. You can just stick upstairs for fall, bring it, or no, keep it for fall and put it upstairs for spring. So those are the things to think about. As a general, for all your clothes, one of the main rules is obviously, have I worn it in a year? That's the age-old trick. Everybody says it. It is the truth. If you haven't worn it in 365 days, you're really not going to wear it over the next year. Every piece that you're going to look at, you have to know that it's going to work with 3 other items in your closet. That is a very important thing. You're also going to want to see, is it something that fits my body right now? Now, this is again where the brutal honesty comes in. You're going to have a little bit of self-acceptance during this part of the process. But, you know, we'll get to it in a second, but you're obviously going to want to try everything on. It's okay if it doesn't fit. Just put it somewhere that's not in your closet, so you're not looking at it every day being like, I should have run yesterday. I can't fit into those jeans. I know it's good for some inspiration, but you don't need 20 of those pieces. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you tuck those away. Then another thing to think about is it something that someone gave to me, but I never wear it? And you know, that tends to be a real bottleneck when I work with a lot of my celebrity clients. And it's okay. You have to understand that there is somebody else in the world that can probably utilize it more than the rent that it's taking in your closet space. All right. So accept the gift with the intention that it was given to you, and then move on. Get rid of the guilt, replace the guilt with joy. We're going to be in a much better place when it's in a better place. All right. One of the tricks with that, which I tend to use and I suggest with even like my baby stuff, when I have to get rid of my daughter's stuff, which kills me, is I take photos of it. You know, no one needs 20 Dr. Seuss books in their attic, but if you have the visual of it, you'll look at it when you're eating and be like, oh, and that's fine. And then it's not a huge bin of clothes that you've been storing for no reason. Obviously, if your grandma gave it to you and she's passed on or what have you, that's a different story. But for the most part, the photo will do. Is it something that you spent way too much money on and now you just feel terrible because you spent so much money? The beauty of that is if you resell it on a resale website like The RealReal, you're going to make hopefully 40 to 50% back, and then you get to reinvest that into something that you're going to utilize much more. You know, is it something that doesn't fit your lifestyle right now? It's something you want to really take a look at. Is it something you're going to wear to work, or is it just going to sit there because you think, you know, you're going to be climbing Kilimanjaro next summer, which you're probably not? That way, again, get rid of it. How annoying is it to wear? I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's always that one item where you're like, oh, it snags on everything, or it itches me, or I just don't feel like putting it on in the morning because I don't know what to pair it with. Those types of things, just go. Just let it go, because in the morning you don't want to deal with that. Obviously within that, does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel bad? Are you tied to it emotionally for some reason that you shouldn't be? You should really just get rid of those pieces. Then the next step, once you've done the full detox, is to hold your fit session. This is almost like the second part of the detox. I cannot stress this enough. You're going to need to try everything on. Obviously, if it's something you've worn in the past month and you know how it fits, it's fine. But if there's stuff that you find where you're like, what? That you got to put on. And it can be somewhat painful sometimes, but it's okay. This is part of where, you know, you need to know that fluctuations occur. It'll help you know whether you need to bring something to the tailor, whether it needs to be fixed. Sometimes you can pull something out and, you know, the condition of it has just gone to crap and you need to fix it up somehow. But it is really, really key. Within doing that, there are tricks that you can do. For instance, I like doing this with jeans and all my pants, is you try it on the heel or with a flat, you determine which one it is, and then you write that on the waistband. You just put a little H or a little F, and then, you know, in the morning, it's a quick go-to. Oh, I can't wear that with my flats. I got to wear heels with this guy. Then you move to the third step, which is the organization, which obviously as a Virgo, I love. But that is basically, obviously, once you've completed the detox, this is going to be the portion that really, really helps you de-stress in the future. Merchandising is going to be the next step. So basically within that, What we like to tend to suggest is doing it by item, first of all. So let's say you've got your skirts, your pants, your tops, your blazers, your outerwear somewhere else, yada, yada, yada. And then when you have those categories, you subdivide that by color. What you're going to want to do is do the cool tones to warm tones. It makes it more aesthetically pleasing, more enticing, and then you throw the patterns and the textures at the end. That way it's easy. It's like a rainbow. You just go through, nice and easy. This is, again, the point where I would tell everybody to really just release the guilt, because there is so much joy in bringing that organization into your life. At that level, this is the time where I'd say, get rid of it. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to get rid of it. You got to immediately put those bins up in the attic. You got to put the stuff in the trash, and you got to put those bags in the car, bring them to Goodwill or sell to the Real, because if you keep them in your closet, it's like that piece of cheesecake in your fridge that you just keep thinking about all night. And at 11 p.m., you're going to go back and you're going to eat the cheesecake. So I don't want you thinking that you just really need to keep that poplin shirt for some barbecue in July or what have you, because it's sitting there and you look at it. So just get rid of it. All right, so then comes the fun part for a stylist, which is basically the choose your own adventure for your image making. What some people like to do is a 33 to 36 item capsule collection. Essentially what that is your everyday wear, your essentials, everything that you need to get you through getting dressed in the morning with the stuff that you know are your absolute favorites. Within that, I would say make 6 core outfits that you can utilize throughout the week. Always go back to your uniform, your go-tos. Those are super, super easy. Just makes it really, really nice and just chill in the morning for you. Then another thing that we like to do is essentially your fashion journal. It is a diary of the things that inspire you and the outfits that you make from this detox. So like I said, for every item, you're going to want to pair it with at least 3 items. If you're ambitious during your fit session, you can take photos of yourself while it's all on you, or you can just do flats on floors. Most people like to do flats because it's very time consuming if you try everything on, but to each their own. This journal will essentially encapsulate who you want to be, the image you want to have, and make it super easy to go to in the morning. Literally just like a folder, whatever works for you. If it's a little book, what have you, you keep it in the closet. And you can always look at it when you're in the morning and you're like, I literally just don't know what to wear. Obviously, if you need to hire someone to help you with that, that's why we're here. But that being said, it's a nice little trick to make it easy for you in the morning. Then, of course, you know, the next step after that is obviously figuring out where the holes are and seeing what you need to implement into your closet to make it a full and complete collection for you. You know, one of the biggest tools that I like to utilize is mood boards. And I suggest looking at Pinterest, magazines, Vogue.com, your favorite celebrities, all that kind of stuff. Make a mood board, which is essentially a reference for you to what you want your image to be. You know, if you feel like you're in a style rut or what have you, just whatever inspires you, you know, little things. It could be colors, it could be flowers, it could be anything. But then use that so that you can go out and make decisions knowing these are the things that I need to make this a complete wardrobe, and not to fall into the traps that you usually do. Because the real truth is, is that we wear 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time. I'm lying. I said that backwards. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. But that is really the truth. And that goes for the shopping as well. If you love white t-shirts, you are going to find yourself buying way more t-shirts, and you will find this out when you edit your closet, that you have 6 white t-shirts, which why do we need 6 white t-shirts? We really don't. So, and by the way, I fall victim to this as well. So, you know, when you come out of this, obviously, you just want to try and move forward in your shopping strategy and try and buy the pieces that you know you need, invest in those key pieces. And then if you're going to buy some trendy stuff, buy the inexpensive stuff because you know that you might or might not use it, blah, blah, blah. So, as you're planning your wardrobe, don't forget accessories. That is a major point that people forget. That could be an extra session in your, you know, detox. But definitely take a look at your shoes, your bags, your jewelry. even your swimwear, all that kind of stuff, but that should be on a separate thing. Those are obviously the pieces that ironically most people sort of float over, but they are key. They are key pieces to creatively changing your uniform. And so you want to make sure that you invest in a few of those. Great shoes, great bags, and then know that like a statement necklace and a different color shoe are going to completely transform an outfit that you wear on the regular basis, so that most people don't even really realize that it's the same outfit because you've amped it up in a different way. Another tool that I like to suggest is a what we like to call like our junk drawer, essentially what you have in the kitchen, but up in the closet. That has all the essentials that you might need to just do a quick grab in the morning should something happen, whether it be a lint roller, top stick, new bra, Spanx, bra hooks, shoe gear, whether it's, you know, heel pads, toe pads, lifts. A lot of people forget that lifts are an amazing tool. Like if you have flats that you just want to amp your height up for like an inch and a half, it's always a good cheat session. And then last but not least, you know, would be some of my tips to help you in the morning, obviously, once this is all done. First and foremost being, we have done a closet detox and organization. You got to keep it that way now. Literally, your goal is to keep it as clean and as decluttered as possible so that you can maintain this ease. That being said, we all know what happens. You know, you have your fashion journal to fall back on. So that's always really, really nice to have. If you can spend the time to do that, I cannot tell you how useful it is, even for someone like me who does this for a living. If you can, I would say pick out your outfit the night before. Sometimes it just really alleviates the stress in the morning. And another tool is just take a look at the weather, literally the week before, whether it's Sunday or what have you. Just take a look at the flow for the week, and at least then you know, like if it's going to be raining, it helps visualize what you're going to want to do. I like to say keep your accessories by the closet, by the entrance of your closet, because obviously it tends to be the last thing you put on. And if you're in a rush, which most people are in the morning, it's just easy. You just throw it in, out the door. Another thing that I would say is literally, I guess, last but not least, know that repeat style is okay. You know, your distinct style is an extension of your personality, and it's okay to repeat that left and right. I always wear the same thing to work. I am literally known for it in Hollywood. So know that that's okay. Just make sure that your uniform is uniquely you and is something that doesn't stress you out in the morning, that you love to put on, that makes you feel good about yourself. Because that's the whole point of all this, right? I mean, fashion is supposed to be fun. So hopefully we can keep it that way. And hopefully this tutorial has helped a little bit in getting that process. So I'm going to open it up now. Let me see what we got here. Let's see if I can figure this out. And don't forget also, my Instagram is my name, Tara Swennen, as well. So if you have questions that you want to ask me privately, feel free to just DM me. Because I see some of these on here that say privately, so I can either respond to you back or what have you. But let me start from the top. Let's see. 2 questions. How do you decide what to dress celebrities in for the red carpet? And designers send a lot of free things in order to get celebrities to wear their designs. Again, with that, you know, it's always about their personality and sort of what they want to put out on the red carpet. You know, musicians are very different than actresses because they tend to sort of, you know, embrace a persona. And if they want that to sort of keep going in real life, then they stick with that. Obviously, you know, we do a lot of, you know, research, sort of what they've done in the past, what they're looking to look like in the future. And obviously a lot of it has to depend on their body type. And with the designers, you know, the real answer is there's a lot of politics involved. So not everyone can access every single brand. So that is a huge determinator. Sorry. Clearly I have been working for a minute, of what they're able to wear. And we have to request it. So it's not like the designers are gonna know necessarily that someone has a premiere or whatever. Obviously during award season and stuff like that, it's pretty basic. They know who's going. But other than that, we are the ones that determine who we think would work best on them. And then we reach out to them. They say yes or no. If they say yes, we pick our favorite looks from their runway shows. And then we call it in and we try it on. So let's see what else. I struggle with parting with shoes. No way I can easily walk anymore in my high heels. What is the best insert for comfort for a few I decide to keep? Do you put shoes and bags in the diary? I would do full outfits if you can for the diary for sure. That really helps, but don't be locked into those. Obviously, you know, a lot of shoes can be tweaked, but I would put your top 3 favorites in there. As far as shoes, you know, shoes tough. You know, I'm the Imelda Marco of shoes right now, and I won't purchase shoes anymore unless they're vegan. So I have held on to a million, and I probably wear 3. I've fallen victim to that as well. But the safest inserts, I mean, there are truly so many out there. I tend to like the gel-based ones the best. You know, I don't like the full foot one unless you really need the arch support, but they even have some just for your arch at this point. Doubling down even on the ball of foot ones can really, really help. But otherwise, I would throw 1 ball of foot and 1 heel one in. Those tend to help the most. Otherwise, truly, it's an arch situation. I have found that as I get older, it just hurts my arch. There's not much you can do about that. Only wear those crazy shoes when you know you're going to be sitting down, whether it's a dinner, something easy and quick. And then, you know, one of my tricks with my clients is, you know, they carry those like tiny, tiny little foldable slippers. It's almost like the nail salon slippers in your purse, so that at the end of the night, if you're dying, you can always put those on as you're exiting somewhere. Can you review again how to create 3 ways to use an urn of clothing? This doesn't seem intuitive to me. Item, not urn. I know, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so 3 ways to use, to create 3 looks with 1 item. So most items will work like, let's say the top is, you know, your piece that you're struggling with. The thing that I like to tell my clients the most is you want 1 basic piece and 1 crazy piece. And by crazy, obviously, you know, there is definitely levels of this. But you want to make sure that you only use, ideally, and some people go crazy, you know, and people like the street style girls, like they have a really great way of matching different patterns of what not. But try and do 1 pattern, 2 or 3 colors tops. If you're gonna do patterns that juxtapose, you want to do 1 big and 1 small. You don't want to do 2 big or 2 small. Ideally, it sort of is a trompe d'oeil, which is kind of nice. It helps balance out the outfit. But just know that a basic will pretty much go with anything. Obviously, jeans, blue jeans, black jeans, those go with pretty much everything. Your basic black pant, whether it be a wide leg trouser or like a cigarette skinny, is going to go with virtually any type of top, whether it's a sweater, a blouse. You know, again, a lot of it depends on what you need for the fit of your body, you know? So if you're doing a high-waisted pant, obviously you can pair it with a shorter top, but balance is the key. So if you have 1 piece that's really like overpronounced, you want to keep the rest skinny. You also want to make sure there's just enough skin showing. So if you're wearing pants, you want to make sure you get a little arm if you can. Usually that means 3/4 or smaller. If it's a long sleeve, maybe you have a deep V, but you want to keep a little bit of skin. If you are trying to cover a certain area, one of the biggest tricks is obviously keep that the solid and keep it dark. So if you are concerned about your hips, for instance, wear a dark color on the bottom and wear something mind-blowingly light on the top. It brings the attention up, and vice versa if you do something like that. Then as far as shoes, the clunkier they are, the more heavier it looks. So obviously the more sort of lightweight, less pronounced, you know, unfortunately, usually more painful ones are the ones that are going to give you, you know, the nicest look. But those are some easy tricks. And then obviously you can DM me if you need any more. Let's see. How do we determine what our style really is? Well, one of the main things is figuring out what's in your closet, because that's innately what you gravitate towards. If you love purple or you love yellow, you're going to have a lot of it in your closet. If you tend to love the neutrals, then that's where you're going to go. As far as expanding on that, you know, it's the same thing where I would look at celebrities, Pinterest, you know, things like that. Even things on the internet, you know, Vogue.com is what we use. And you can look at fashion shows and just screenshot them and see what inspires you. That type of thing tends to be really helpful for your mood board. And then as you create your mood board, you can sort of see what it is, whether it's I wear cardigans all the time, I'm always in, you know, prints, da 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 da, whatever it is, and own that. That's fine. But what you don't want to fall into the pattern of is having 25 of those pieces all the time. You want to make sure that you diversify it. So if you love cardigans, make sure you have all sorts of different cardigans. You know what I mean? Not just all black cardigans. And then you can, you know, if that's your comfort zone, you gotta, you know, you look at people like Reese Witherspoon or, you know, tons of celebrities that always have their go-to shape, whether it's a sheath dress or strapless or whatever. Totally fine to own that. It's, you know, that's who we are. I am the same way, even though I'm a stylist. Creating a uniform is actually what makes you more distinctly you. So don't be afraid of that. You can totally lean into that. But once you know that, spend your money wisely on those pieces. And then if you decide to adventure into a different trend, just buy inexpensive versions of that and see if you fall in love with it. And then if it's something where you're like, I really love peplums and I didn't know that, then you can start investing more in that. Let's see. Thank you for the thank you. For casual lifestyle, what are several basics that you consider essential? All right. Button up white shirt, whether it's a soft blouse, you know, cotton, what have you. Always a good go-to, works well for work. If they're on the slender side, it can even be nice on a date. Obviously, blue jeans. I mean, every woman has blue jeans. I think everybody in the world, except for my own child, likes blue jeans. Black pants, I would say, are always a go-to because they go with everything, like I said. Pencil skirts are always good. They tend to really flatter anyone's body, and they usually cover down to the knee so that most people of every age are comfortable in them. I would say a trench coat, whether it's black, gray, tan, keeping that in the neutral zone is always a good thing. A blazer. Everybody needs a good black blazer. Everybody needs a good navy blazer. And I would always say, if you can go for it, always have a red blazer, because that's always just, if you need that easy punch of color, it's great. You know, t-shirts are really great. T-shirts and tanks, obviously just your classic white, I think are always great underpinnings for any outfit. And then, you know, I like high-waisted pants because I think that sort of most body shapes can handle it. And it's especially nice for women who are curvy because it covers a little bit. So that's always nice. And then any type of shirt can go into it as long as it's not excessive. Allows you to wear, you know, tiny, tiny things up top if you're not comfortable wearing tiny, tiny things on the bottom. A good pair of pumps. You always want a good sort of ballet slipper to run around in. Some people debate this, but I think flip-flops are essential in life, especially at home right now. A good knit sweater, whether it's like a heavy cable knit, depending on where you live, or just a nice little merino. I think those are always nice layering pieces. And those are pretty good basics right there. I would say stick to those as your general. I also love one good boot. I think everybody should have one boot in their closet, whether it's a bootie or an under the knee boot. I think it really can jazz up any outfit. Let's see. What are your tips for buying trendy or pieces that don't really go with much? Don't buy at all, or any suggestions? My suggestion would be to go to places like H&M, Forever 21, and don't break the bank. Most of those, you know, places make a lot of great knockoffs, and really, really trendy things are only going to last for 2 or 3 months. So the best way to do it is just don't invest like crazy amounts of money in it unless it's something that you absolutely love. But again, you do your trial run with them, and then if you really love them, you can find a nice designer, you know, one of that. But most people tend to find that they wear the trendy things like 3 or 4 times, and then when it's not trendy anymore, they're like, what do I do with this? Takes up space. It ends up in the shopping bag a year or 2 down the line. Let's see. Is it okay to take pictures of your shoes and put the pictures on the outside of the box so you know which shoes are there without having to open every shoebox? Absolutely. That's another trick that we use a lot. One way to do it, which a lot of women like, is putting one forward and one backwards. That way you just get a tip and it sort of minimizes the space that they use. Another one is obviously stacking them in boxes. You can purchase clear boxes online, which also makes it nice to see. But we like to use Polaroids and do the same thing, line one up sideways and one front, so you know exactly what it looks like, the heel height, everything. Put it on the front, and then it's easy to go to. You can also organize your shoes by color as well, and that will help you as you know, sort of clear the room and see, you know, what you want to use for what outfits. But that is a very, very good trick. Let's see, how did I get into the industry? I went to Cornell University for fashion design, and I worked in New York City. Thought I wanted to be a designer, but got introduced to Andrea Lieberman, who designs the line ALC now. And the week I started with her, we did that Grammy dress that JLo wore, that Versace green dress that literally was like the dress heard around the world. And having been a part of that, it was like mind blowing to me. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I decided to start styling instead. Worked there. Then I worked for Rachel Zoe out in Los Angeles. And at that point I was hooked, and I've been on my own ever since. Let's see, do you have to go to school and get a certificate to become a closet wardrobe organizer? You don't. You know, there's a lot of companies that offer it. The best thing to do though, you know, is word of mouth, to be honest. Just reach out to everybody you know, tell them to reach out to every other mom they know. You know, it tends to be somewhat of a tough gig only because it's a one and done situation usually. But if you can incorporate personal shopping into that as well, it makes it much more profitable. But the beauty of, you know, this time right now is that I can help people sort of like this virtually, you know, and I am on an app called Glam Hive. If you look it up, glamhive.com, which offers these, and you can obviously reach out to me personally, and we can do it personally as well. But there are apps that, you know, help in this process, and you can do it virtually via FaceTime, you know, and just do it piece by piece with someone who can help. Let's see. Amen to flip-flops. Love you guys. Let's see. What celebrity do you think has the greatest style sense? Ooh. All my clients. I'm just kidding. I don't know. You know, I'm a big fan of Kate Blanchett. I'm a big fan of Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm a big fan of Timothy, what's his name? Chalamet. I forgot his last name. He's amazing for guys. It depends. You know, if I look to different celebrities for their own twist on everything, you know, like Elle Fanning does great with the sort of younger, more romantic vibe. You know, I think Kristen Stewart, who I work with, has an amazing edgy vibe. I think it just depends on the individual, but for me personally, there are definitely some tops, but I love seeing what people pull out, especially when it's random and kind of unique to, you know, what I would normally think they would be in. So yeah. I think I read through all the questions. I don't know. If there's anything else, please feel free. Do you just style for celebrities? Who are the celebrities you currently style? Right now I work with Kristen Stewart, Allison Janney, Matthew McConaughey, Julie Bowen, Lauren Conrad, Andrea Savage. I have a few clients that we're roping on as this whole thing started. So, you know, hopefully we'll see what happens. But I've been very blessed. I have a nice long roster, and a lot of them have been with me for years, which is incredible. And they're all lovely. I try to only work with really nice people now, because sometimes you don't get really nice people. Makes it that much more fun. I also like to work with a lot of comedians, like I have Whitney Cummings and a couple other girls. That tends to make the fittings hilarious, and I tend to be crying of laughter in those fittings. So I really, you know, I'm lucky at this point in my career, you know, I can pick and choose some. So it's a blessing for sure. So Glam Hive, yeah, so Glam Hive is glamhive.com. It has a bunch of stylists and a bunch of different tiers of stylists. So you've got girls who are personal shoppers, like let's say from Nordstrom's, who've roped on, or you have you know, tiered celebrity stylists like me, Joseph Cassell, a bunch of other girls and boys, you know, who do more red carpet. So we tend to be a little bit more expensive. But that being said, a lot of us have reduced our rates during this time, obviously, because we're trying to help. And, you know, obviously within that, I try and prorate, which is why I say, if you need to come to me directly, just let me know, because I think, you know, right now it's super important to help everybody out. So, but it is a nice one. There's also Wishi, which is another one. But yeah, let's see. I missed one of the essentials you mentioned at the end of the list after tees before you went to pumps and shoes. Pencil skirt, maybe it was the blazer, also the trench coat. Those were some of the essentials, I think. Sweaters, maybe it was sweaters, a lightweight merino, or you know, a nice cable knit. Yeah, does anyone have anything else? I really appreciate you guys joining me today. It's been really, really fun. I hope that I answered some questions, and hopefully some of you guys will attack your closets. I think it really is fun. I mean, I don't know where everybody is, but out here in LA, and I've heard in a lot of the other parts of the country, it's just nasty weather. Perfect time to just grab a glass of wine and get involved. It makes you feel a lot better about yourself too. I think, you know, just kind of like starting fresh, starting new, especially at week 4 now. All of us are looking to, you know, have a little bit of inspiration somewhere. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys.